You wrote an email to someone and they didn't open it or they didn't even respond. And then you're asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Did I not say the right things? Oh my God, you're freaking out. No response. You're waiting weeks, days, no response. It's painful, I can tell you. Sometimes it's not even your fault. Other times, it might actually be your fault. You didn't do the right thing. You didn't write your email the right way. You didn't construct a good email. Yeah, it all happens. However, writing a strong email is a tip not so many people have. This video, if you watch this video, you're going to be learning how to write a strong email that email will read through. It's your girl again, Zinnie. Welcome back to my corner. Guys, you know how we do it. Here, my space, it's all about personal and career development plus edutainment topics. Here in this channel, you can expect to see topics that help you level up in both your personal and in your career development. And then once in a while, edutainment topics, videos that you will see, you watch, rather, you will have fun, but you just, learn something, whatever, anything out of it. So if you're just seeing this face for the first time, my name is Zinnie and it's a wholesome space here. Guys, so today we're going to be talking about how to write a very strong email. How to write a very strong email or how to write a very good email. Something inspired this video and I'm going to briefly tell you what that is before we get into this video. Now, sometime this week, someone sent me an email. She wrote she was going to send this email to it's a formal email to someone in a formal setting, and wanted me to kind of review the email before she sent it out. And after reviewing the email, I realized, or I gave her my corrections. There were a little bit of misspellings. The email wasn't concise enough. It was just like everywhere. So that kind of inspired me to want to make this video because I realized that aside her, in the past, a couple of people basically have asked me, "Oh, Zinnie, please, could you help me just read through this?" I mean, we do that. I guess we all do that once in a while in our lives, right? So today's video, it's all about giving you helpful tips to write a strong email in a formal setting and in an informal setting, where whatever setting that you find yourself in. If you want to write a strong email, if you want to know how to write a strong email, just keep watching, and by the end of this video you'll be an expert in writing that email. All right, let's get into the video. So the first thing on my tips on how to write a very strong email would be tip number one: think about the person who is think about what's most important to the person who is receiving this email. So what this simply means is, if you're sending an email to somebody, think about what is most important to this person. Is this person expecting to receive this email as a feedback? Like, is this email going to be a feedback to the person? Let's say, for example, you and this person had a conversation previously and you say, "Oh, you hear my feedback." Like, if this is this email going to be a feedback? Is this email an instruction? Is this email just an informative email? What the person is expecting out of that email determines how you word or the tone of this email. For example, if the person is expecting a feedback, or like if someone is expecting a feedback from you and your email is sounding like an informative email or like an instruction, it's kind of not going to pass that message you want it to pass to that person. Or let's say the person is expecting an instruction and then your email is kind of a feedback or a question, right? If that makes sense, that person is not going to like get the message right out of that email. So think about what is most important to that person. Just take a little bit of your time before you write an email to think about what is this person expecting from this email, and before you start writing your email, right? Now, the next tip number two, would be have a clear subject line. Now, I believe everybody, or maybe most people, know what a subject line is, an email subject line. So an email subject line would be what's the line at the top of the email where it says subjects. For Gmail, Yahoo Mail, every email domain has a subject line. So think about, have a clear subject line in every email you send out. It doesn't make sense writing an email without a subject line. A lot of people do it, they don't think it's necessary. So what a subject line does is that a subject line preempts the person who you're sending an email to. Like it kind of gives the person an idea of what the email is going to be about or what the email is about. So now there are two types of subject line. A subject line that, number one, a subject line that tells the person that, kind of summarizes what the email is going to be about. For example, you're applying for a job and the subject line says application for XYZ role. Anybody who sees that email already knows that, okay, this is an application coming in for this role. Or you're sending an email to somebody about, let's say, corps example, and then the subject line of the email says sample of the cups we discussed. Now this subject line is one of the examples of the kind of subject line that tells the person, that gives the person a summary of what the email is about. Now the second type of subject line is a subject line that intrigues the person to want to open that email. Now this is the one you use when you're sending like a cold email to somebody you don't know or somebody you know, but you're trying to get the person to open your email. Oftentimes email marketers use this style of subject line, an intriguing subject line. Let's say, for example, let me say they want to sell a balloon to you, right? This is an example. Let's say a party vendor wants to sell a balloon to you, and the subject line of the email is like balloons that bust your bubbles away, something like that. I'm just giving an example. Now that's an intriguing subject line. You see that and you're like, okay, well, what kind of balloons are these? And you're opening the email to want to see the rest of the information, right? So that's what it's best to use this email when you want to get somebody to definitely open the email you're sending to them, when you're sending like a cold email to someone and all that. So it's best to know what kind of subject line to use at every point in time you're sending an email, whether formal or informal, to someone. All right. The next point, which is the third one, would be keep the body of the email brief. Very, very important, guys. So keep the body of the email. What this means is that let the body of your email be very concise. A lot of people, when they're trying to write an email, you see like 10 paragraphs, 8 paragraphs. I don't think anybody in this modern age and time that, people have very little attention span. Nobody or most people don't really have time to read a cumbersome email. So try to keep your email concise. So how do you do that? Some tips on keeping your email concise is, and like, use bullet points a lot. This is something I personally do when I'm sending an email to you and I want to, like, my key information, the key takeaway that I want you to take away from that email, are often put in bullet points. Let's say, for example, the point of my email is to give you a list of, again, let me use my cups, the kind of cups I want you to see. I know a lot of people will say, what's with you and cups? But it's just an example. Back to what I was saying. My email would look like this. Below are examples of cups I want you to see. Bullet, 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 bullet. And then the below are examples. I will bold it, which brings me to my next tip, bolding. So that way, when you open my email, even if you don't want to read everything, you already, like, your eyes, the person's eye goes straight to the bolded heading and then the bullet points. So that person has taken away the key information I wanted to pass across in that email without reading the entire email. Maybe the rest of the email body has like my greetings, my asking about how is your work, my introduction, or things like that. So ensuring that you put your information, key information in the email in a bullet point, highlighted. This is also a good way to keep your emails concise. Keep informations highlighted, especially information that you want to catch the person's attention. Ensure you keep it highlighted, keep it bolded, bullet point things, number things. These are ways to put things in paragraph. Try to keep your paragraphs as small as possible and as contained as possible, whilst also putting out the main information that you want to give. All right. Now, the last but not the least of writing a very strong email, which is the fourth one, would be proofread your emails. Check for errors. Check for misspellings. By errors, I mean grammatical errors, of course. Check for your punctuations, any grammatical spellings, any typo and things like that. You don't want to send out an email with grammatical errors or emails that the punctuations are not properly aligned or properly punctuated. You know what I'm saying? It kind of, for example, there are some places that maybe a full stop is supposed to be there and you didn't put a full stop. It kind of reads to a different thing, like it starts meaning something different, especially in a formal setting. So one software that can help you check for grammatical errors and things like that is Grammarly. This is not sponsored. I use Grammarly a lot. By the way, this is why if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed or you haven't followed me, depending on whatever platform you're watching me from, please do well to subscribe just so that this community can grow and more people would enjoy this helpful information, these tips and videos I put out. I really, 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 really want my community to grow. So please do well to follow, subscribe, wherever you're watching from. All right. So back to what I was saying. One software that you can use is Grammarly. Grammarly does very well, does a very good job in helping you check for typos, errors, grammatical cohesion, basically helping you put together better words. So you can check it out. It's a browser extension, so you don't need to so what I mean by browser extension is just you download it and it kind of plugs into your browser. So yeah. So guys, these 4 tips. If you put it into practice, you'll be sure to write a very strong email the next time you want to write an email to somebody. All right. So let me know what you think and what tips do you personally use to write a strong email. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, like I said, please kindly subscribe or follow me depending on where you're watching from. All right, guys, thank you. And I'll see you again in my next video.